2B Translation Channel. Chapter 27, Release of Demonic Aura. In Idle Stone Garden, the 7 women's words left Meng Chuan, Yan Jin, and Lu Qiu slightly stunned. "Let all the women in these buildings come out," Yan Jin said sternly. He refused to believe it. When he was young, the maidservant that had treated him exceptionally well was tortured to death in such a place. "Bring them all out." The colorful-robed elder smiled as he instructed. More than 30 women were brought and gathered together. "Young Master Meng." "It's the Meng family's Meng Chuan." Many women's eyes lit up when they saw Meng Chuan. Countless people were envious and jealous of Eastcom Prefecture's geniuses. Meng Chuan often traveled between Meng Manor and Mirror Lake Deo Academy. Many people had seen him over the years. "If you were abducted, you can say it out loud. You don't have to worry about the Black Wolf Gang's revenge," said Meng Chuan. "They don't have the guts. Young Master Meng, although some of us were crying and wailing when we came, it has nothing to do with the Black Wolf Gang. I came here on my own accord because of my brother's marriage. The sisters beside me all have their sad stories, but we were all willing," said a woman with a smile. "Young Master Meng." These women were all very willing to tell Meng Chuan. As Meng Chuan, Lu Qiu, and Yan Jin listened, the 3 became more confused. They could tell that these women didn't have any resentment towards the Black Wolf Gang. They were even shocked when they heard the women talk about their hardships. They had known that life was difficult for ordinary people due to the rules set by the imperial government. Those who didn't reach the marrow cleansing realm had to serve in the military otherwise. The jobs available to them would be limited. But those who opened small businesses and worked some odd jobs could still fill their stomachs. But today, they found out that there were people who lived more miserable lives amongst ordinary people. Those who were seriously ill or had families with gambling addicts. Those who went through famine or had their hometowns destroyed by demons. These women were pretty, so they had this path to take. If they didn't have the prerequisite beauty, this path wouldn't have worked out. "Sis." Ironborn, who was standing by the side, called out in excitement, his eyes widening suddenly. He didn't feel anything when he heard the women complaining because his father was a gambling addict. If it weren't for his sister working as a servant in a large family clan, his family would have been finished. Ironborn. The woman who had been brought out by the Black Wolf Gang immediately ran over. "Ha ha." The elderly man laughed. "We found her. What happened? How did this woman get brought to our idle stone garden? How was I not aware of this?" "Guardian," said the gang members respectfully. "The father of this woman named Red Rain owes us Black Wolf Gang 300 taels of silver. That's why our subordinates brought the man's daughter to hide here temporarily. It's to force her father to raise the money." When the elder heard, he immediately glared at the Bossway trio and shouted, "Why didn't you tell me you were hiding her here for your debt recollection?" Bossway immediately came to a realization and said with a fawning smile, "Guardian, how would we dare to alarm you with such a trivial matter? We only planned to hide her here for a few days to scare that gambler." Meng Chuan and company frowned when they heard this. When a debt reached a significant amount, debtors who temporarily impounded other family members to force the family to return the debt would only be punished with fines at the court. Unless the abducted woman was forced to become a prostitute, be severely injured, or killed, would a heavy punishment be meted out. As for Ironborn's sister, Red Rain, she clearly wasn't injured. "Sis, did they bully you?" Ironborn hugged his sister and asked immediately. "No, they just locked me up in a room." Red Rain shook her head. "Could we have made a mistake?" Lu Qiu whispered when she saw this. Yan Jin frowned. Meng Chuan looked at the group of women. Every single one of them had their stories, but none of them were forced. What he experienced today had indeed allowed him to see the other side of this world. "Young master." The old servant stood beside Yan Jin and chuckled. "If it's illegal, the Black Wolf Gang will not let us see it easily." Yan Jin's eyes lit up. This Red Rain was taken away by force without a doubt. Furthermore, the Black Wolf Gang didn't have an indenture contract for her. "Since there's a precedent, it can't be only this once," said the old servant with a smile. "Furthermore, the place where Red Rain was imprisoned is in the back of the compound. I'm quite sure there are other pitiful women in those places. These words caused the Black Wolf gang members' faces to change. The elderly man in colorful robes had an ugly look on his face. Yes, shady matters need to be hidden more carefully, said Yanjin coldly. Uncle Wang, check this compound carefully. I want to see how bold a small gang like this can be. Haven't you gone overboard? The elder's face darkened as he took a few steps forward. His subordinates behind him also took a few steps forward, blocking the path in front of them. The colorful robed elder said in a low voice, "The person you wish to save is now with you. Are you not giving us an out by continuing to force us?" "Move aside," said Yanjin coldly. "This is the Black Wolf gang's territory, and also the Bai family's territory." The elder laughed coldly. "Do you all intend to fall out with us?" "Haha, you are quite bold as a guardian," said the old servant with a laugh. "Is there anyone who dares to threaten Jadasun Palace in East Com Prefecture?" In East Com Prefecture, the Jadasun Palace held the highest status, and it represented Archean Mountain. "If you dare to obstruct Jadasun Palace's operations, I can kill you directly. Your Black Wolf gang should know the rules." The old servant took out the Jadasun Palace's token, and the color in the faces of the gang members immediately drained. They couldn't help but retreat. The Jadasun Palace's reputation was too great. It was said that the imperial court was in charge of mortal affairs while Jadasun Palace was in charge of all other matters. If one offended the Jadasun Palace, they would die for nothing. "Guardian, don't fight with the Jadasun Palace. Bear with it. Let's report this to the gang." "We won't be able to block them," the gang members said hurriedly. Even if it were a serious crime to abduct women, with so many people from the Black Wolf gang, the imperial court's punishments would probably not reach them even if they did mete out punishments. Under the night sky. Inside Idle Stone Garden, the women watched nervously. The members of the Black Wolf gang also retreated. The Bossway trio didn't dare say a word. Only the elder's expression darkened. He stood in the way. "Are we really going to fall out with each other? Do you think you are worthy of that?" The old servant chuckled softly. In terms of background, his family clan was far beyond what any of the 5 God-fiend clans in East Com Prefecture were capable of. "Make way." Yanjin's eyes were cold. The thought of women being tortured to the point of death triggered his killing intent. "Haha, all right. I'll make way." "Make way. Let them investigate." The elder laughed, causing the old servant's expression to change. At this moment, a person walked out from a distant corridor. His back hunched, but he remained tall. His hair was disheveled, and he walked over with a smile as he looked at Meng Chuan, Yanjin, Lu Qiu, and the old servant. Upon seeing this person's aura limited to an ordinary person's, Meng Chuan could vaguely sense an extremely terrifying threat approaching. It was as though a terrifying monster was approaching him. "I heard that you are going to investigate this place." The hunchbacked man smiled. "So many paths lead to life, but you had to choose the one that leads to death." As soon as he finished speaking, a rich green aura suddenly erupted from his body as his eyes glowed green. His entire body became larger and muscular, his fingernails grew longer as well. Reaching out his hand, he sent pebbles on the ground flying into the air and into his hands. "I'll send you on your way." The hunchbacked man waved his sharp claws. Swish. 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 Dozens of stones flew out. A green aura enveloped every stone, and their speed was terrifying. Bang. 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 Easily causing large holes, some stones passed through the wooden pillars while others passed through the rockery. Ah. Following the stone trajectories, 3 gang members and 2 innocent women were pierced through by stones. Blood splattered everywhere as they died on the spot. "Be careful." Meng Chuan jolted to attention as he stepped in front of Qiu and instantly unsheathed his saber at his waist. Lu Qiu immediately pulled the siblings behind her. Skydman sect. Release of demonic aura. The old servant's expression drastically changed as he brandished a soft sword. "Young master, be careful." Yanjin pulled out both his swords from his back. He immediately tried his best to block the attacks with both blades. Bang! 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 Dozens of terrifying rocks enveloped with green aura instantly struck them. Meng Chuan, the old servant, and Yanjin used their full strength to block the lethal stones. Every stone felt extremely heavy. They were stronger than arrows shot by an expert at the mortal shedding realm. The stones were even more terrifying than 100 mortal shedding realm warriors shooting arrows simultaneously. Chapter 28, Call for Help. Boom. The white-robed Yanjin wielded a sword in each hand. He stood in front as his two swords transformed into the symbol for yin and yang, forming a vortex to block the stones. Yanjin blocked almost half of the stones covered in the green aura. Flanking Yanjin, the old servant who was at the Seamless Realm, and Meng Chuan blocked the remaining stones. We blocked them. Meng Chuan cultivated a lightning divine body, and his speed was extraordinarily fast. His saber instantly transformed into a blur as he blocked multiple rocks, but he still found it extremely demanding on his body. The old servant who used a soft sword had power at the Seamless Realm, but even he was struggling as well. In contrast, Yanjin's every single strike was incomparably powerful, and he hadn't seemed to use any effort to block half the stones alone. Lu Qiu, who was protected in the rear, did not hesitate to take out a distress flare and quickly activated it. Boom. With a loud bang, the flare flew into the sky with great speed. Quick, retreat. Meng Chuan hurriedly roared because the hunchbacked man who had casually tossed the stones had already charged over. Lu Qiu held Ironborn with one hand and carried the other girl with the other as she charged out. Ha ha ha, to have such strength at the mortal shedding realm. It looks like I've caught a big one. The hunchbacked man's laughter echoed in Idle Stone Garden. He had already charged straight for Yanjin. He was clearly the strongest, considering how he had blocked dozens of stones. Young master. The old servant slashed his sword forward, the soft sword curved and stabbed at the hunched man's eyes. The hunched man's body blurred slightly. The strike only hit the hunchbacked man's back. It barely pierced his skin before his muscles blocked it. Whoosh. The hunchbacked man struck out with his claw that was covered with a thick green demonic aura. Unable to dodge in time, Yanjin had no choice but to hold up both swords to block. The claw struck the two swords. Boom. A terrifying power Yanjin had no way of withstanding, surged into him from his swords. Even though he was good at redirecting power and had the ice-fire divine body which was good at using the yin-yang deflection, the strength difference was too great. He was sent flying backward by the strike, slamming into the wall behind him. The idle stone garden walls were instantly smashed apart, causing Yanjin to fall onto the streets. He was covered in rubble. One of his swords was flung into the air. The hunchbacked man didn't care about the others as he only stared at Yanjin in a bid to kill him. Yanjin felt pain all over his body. His bones were fractured in several areas, and he had lost feeling in his arms. He wanted to get up, but he couldn't control his body. Too powerful. The difference was too great. Ha ha ha. The hunchbacked man gave an ear-piercing laugh and charged over. Young master. The old servant wanted to catch up, but his speed was ultimately slower. His eyes couldn't help but show anger. Cough, cough. Yanjin coughed out blood. Am I going to die here? I really can't accept this. Yanjin's vision was a little blurry. As he watched the hunchbacked man charge over, an even faster blur shot out from the side. A saber formed a beautiful arc, and the hunchbacked man was unable to dodge. Saber technique swaying moonfall. In terms of Godfiend foundations, Yanjin's foundation was just on par with Meng Chuan's, even though he was born with tremendous strength, and had consumed rare, treasured herbs while cultivating his Godfiend body. They were simply skilled in different aspects. Meng Chuan, who cultivated a lightning divine body, focused on his movement techniques and swift saber. His advantage was in speed. He was faster than most Seamless Realm experts, and he was even faster than the hunchbacked man. Human traitor from the Skydman sect. A murderous look flashed in Meng Chuan's eyes. His blood boiled as lightning flowed through his body, increasing his astonishing speed even further. Meng Chuan knew very well that he was unable to deal with this terrifying Skydman sect expert. Therefore, he had slashed at his opponent's leg. He wanted to injure his opponent's leg to slow him down. Only then would they have a chance of escaping. Swift saber arts and ingenious moves. As expected of a genius from the Meng family, the hunchbacked man finally slowed down as his left hand swiped out. Clang. His strike was bizarre and fast, easily blocking the saber beam. Seeing the situation turning south, Meng Chuan immediately retreated, an arc beam streaking out from his saber as he did so. There was a cold look in the hunchbacked man's eyes. You are even more dangerous than that white-robed youth. Have a taste of my finger of extermination. He suddenly flicked his right hand. One of his fingernails blasted out and shot towards the fleeing Meng Chuan. Commendable movement techniques, but you will still die. The hunchbacked man was very confident. His fingernails were his most powerful weapon. It would take a month for him to regenerate one of them. However, once he unleashed his full power, it would be extremely terrifying. This move was enough to kill ordinary Seamless Realm experts. No good. The black fingernail covered with green mist was simply too fast. Meng Chuan could only use his sword to block it by instinct honed from blocking arrows every day. When facing death, the unity of his body, mind, and technique allowed him to use more of his potential. His saber blocked the black fingernail. The moment they collided, a terrifying demonic aura contained within the black fingernail exploded out. This exquisite saber move had shifted the black fingernail's trajectory, diverting most of the demonic aura away. However, some of the demonic aura traveled down the saber and into Meng Chuan's body. Boom. He felt his body spasm as he was flung away. He instantly lost feeling in his right hand that had held his saber. Blood sprayed from his mouth as he fell to the ground. The impact was one thing. What was even more frightening was the thick demon aura that had invaded Meng Chuan's body. It was excruciating painful. Ah Chuan. The distant Lu Qiu had already pulled out her bow and arrow from the quiver on her back. Gritting her teeth, she immediately drew her bow and shot at the hunchbacked man. Swoosh. 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 Arrows shot out one after another. None of you can escape. All of you have to die. The hunchbacked man completely ignored the arrows. No matter how the arrows landed on him, they were unable to pierce his skin. Lu Qiu's arrows were too weak. After all, she had just stepped into the mortal shedding realm and had yet to reach the unity realm. Her God-Fiend foundation wasn't strong enough either. If it were an ordinary Seamless Realm expert, they might have to be careful when dealing with her. However, the Skydman sect expert completely ignored her. Oh? The hunchbacked man's expression suddenly changed, and his body blurred. Swoosh. A sword beam passed through the spot where he was. It was the old servant. At that moment, a stream of water swirled around the old servant's body like tiny snakes. The old servant's aura was much stronger, but his skin and eyes were red. God blood pills. The hunchbacked man was rather surprised. He looked at the elder. The East Com Prefecture actually has god blood pills? It seems like you and your young master have powerful backgrounds. Miss Lu, take my young master and young master Meng Chuan with you, shouted the old servant angrily. I will hold him back. All right. Lu Qiu immediately ran over. She first slung Meng Chuan over her back and dashed to Yanjin. Yanjin had a very high recovery rate, and he had already stood up. I can walk by myself. Seek help first. Meng Chuan used all his strength to expel the demonic aura in his body. At the same time, he spoke in a hoarse voice as he took out a distress flare. Boom. Yanjin received the flare and activated it, sending the flare into the sky. He then sent his own distress flare into the sky. Both of you hurry up and leave. Lu Qiu bellowed angrily at the nearby Red Rain and Ironborn. The two siblings were worried about their saviors, but they nodded and immediately ran off into the distance. As for the other women and Black Wolf gang, they had long fled in terror. The further they were from this terrifying battle, the better. Even so, over 10 of them had been implicated. They were either dead or crippled. Meanwhile, after consuming the god blood pill, the old servant's strength multiplied by several times and had already begun clashing with the hunchbacked man. The hunchbacked man had immense strength, and his body was seemingly invulnerable. Every move he made was abnormally terrifying. The old servant was at a complete disadvantage, but he was extremely resilient and continued to hold the hunchbacked man back. Booms ensued from the exchange of blows, and the surrounding walls were reduced to rubble. Swish. 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 Uncle Wang can't hold him for long. Let's go, quick, said Yan Jin. Lu Qiu also ran off with Meng Chuan on her back. Let's go. Meng Chuan that they would only be burdens if they stayed behind. Only after they had escaped, could the loyal servant flee. When Lu Qiu sent out the distress flare, it had attracted the attention of many people in East Com Prefecture. It stood out at night. Meng Dejiang and Lu Yebai were eating in a private room at a restaurant. Through the window, they saw the flares trail in the sky and the explosion. It's Qiu. The two immediately recognized the flare. These distress flares were specially created for juniors. Just by looking at the shape of the fireworks, one could discern who had sent out the distress signal. Qiu is requesting help. Meng Dejiang and Lu Yebai were both shocked. Swoosh. Lu Yebai immediately morphed into black mist and jumped out of the window. Meng Dejiang's blood boiled as he transformed into a black beam of light, and shot out the restaurant. However, just seconds after they rushed out. Bang! Bang! Another two flares. It's Chuaner. Meng Dejiang shouted anxiously. Chapter 29, Thorough Investigation. Outside Idle Stone Garden. A terrifying battle ensued between the Skydman sect expert who had released demonic aura and the old Seamless Realm servant who had consumed the God Blood pill. They have released distress signals. It won't take long for experts from the 5 Godfiend family clans and the Jadasun Palace to arrive. The hunchbacked man had the upper hand. He completely suppressed the old Seamless Realm servant and was busy considering other matters. He looked at the crazy old servant in front of him with some disgust. God blood pills are indeed extraordinary. Most of my strength has been obstructed by the flowing water. The God blood pill is providing him endless energy. As long as the God blood pill's effects haven't finished, I can't escape him. I have no hope of escaping within 30 seconds. Forget it. I'll leave. I will be in danger if this drags on for over 30 seconds. The hunchbacked man made up his mind and turned to leave. 30 seconds was his safety period. The longer he dragged on, the more likely it was for the experts from the 5 Godfiend family clans and Jadasun Palace to arrive. Although the East Com Prefecture city was very large and Idle Stone Garden was quite remote, it would perhaps take experts 30 seconds to arrive. He didn't dare take the gamble. From his point of view, it was a good thing to kill Meng Chuan and company in passing. Otherwise, his life was naturally of utmost importance. Skydman sect experts lurked in every corner of the human world. They were careful and kept a low profile. This was an instinct. Whoosh. The hunchbacked man quickly turned around and left. His figure blurred, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the night after traversing all of Idle Stone Garden. Oh? The old servant didn't continue pestering the man after he no longer pursued his young master and the rest, and instead left in the opposite direction. If he could live, he would take the chance. Young master. The old servant immediately rushed towards Yanjin and the others. He's gone. Yanjin, Meng Chuan, and Lu Qiu heaved a sigh of relief. With me obstructing him, he didn't have the confidence to catch up to you. The old servant forcefully restrained his strength as he hurriedly said, although he's powerful. He's afraid of the 5 Godfiend family clans and Jadasun Palace arriving. Qiu, put me down, Meng Chuan said hoarsely. Ah Chuan, are you feeling better? Lu Qiu put him down and asked immediately. The injuries to my muscles and bones are nothing. However, it's a bit troublesome to expel the demonic aura. I can barely suppress it now. It will probably take me a few days to completely expel it. The demonic aura was faintly swirling around his body. Yanjin's was covered in blood, and his face was pale. However, he still said, Young Master Meng, Miss Lu, this matter was all because of me. If we had done as young Master Meng said to get our men to do it, the Black Wolf Gang would have likely obediently handed Red Rain over. It wouldn't have created all these problems. It was also because I wanted to search Idle Stone Garden the Skydman sect expert appeared. This was all because of me. I also wanted to save the pitiful women. Brother Yanjin, don't think too much about it. By the side, the old servant immediately said, it was all thanks to you, young Master Meng. The Skydman sect expert was just too swift at attacking young Master that I couldn't save him in time. It's all thanks to that saber strike of yours my young Master was saved. Thank you, said Yanjin. He remembered the strike that Meng Chuan delivered in his moment of despair, one that saved him. What's there to thank me for when we were joining forces against an enemy? Meng Chuan laughed, but he couldn't help but cough twice as he laughed. This affected his injuries, and he couldn't help but grimace. Whoosh. Whoosh. Two figures instantly descended, their speed terrifying. This caused the old servant to feel nervous. Meng Chuan, Lu Qiu, and Yanjin turned their heads. Dad. Meng Chuan and Lu Qiu shouted immediately. Qiu. Lu Yebai hurriedly looked at his daughter. Chuaner. Seeing the demonic aura and blood-stained clothes on his son, Meng Dejiang couldn't help but panic. He hurriedly grabbed his son's arm and sent a surge of quintessential energy into his son's body. Dad, I'm fine. Nothing happened. It was Chuan and young Master Yanjin who fought the Skydman sect expert, said Lu Qiu. Only then did Lu Yebai relax. His daughter was indeed unharmed. How is Meng Chuan? Inquired Lu Yebai. After that Skydman sect expert injured Chuaner, he was unable to deal a killing blow. Therefore, he's still alright. He should be able to completely expel the demonic aura from his body within 3 days. As for his tendons and bones, he will recover within 10 days. Meng Dejiang relaxed. He had been quite afraid when he sensed the demonic aura inside his son. An expert who could release demonic aura could probably kill his son in 2 or 3 moves. From how they looked now, the outcome was still acceptable. What about the man from the Skydman sect? Inquired Meng Dejiang. He was held back by me. He knew that he wouldn't be able to kill young Master and the rest, so he immediately left, said the old servant. If he were to continue fighting, the two of you would be able to restrain him. Although the old servant tried his best to contain his strength, his aura was still surging. God blood pill? Lu Yebai and Meng Dejiang came to a conclusion and couldn't help but glance at Yanjin. For a servant to have a god blood pill? What sort of background does this Yanjin have? The two of them were somewhat surprised, but they didn't think too much about it. Since the other party had never publicly announced it, there was no need for them to investigate. In truth, if Jadasun Palace Lord was willing to protect them, it already indirectly proved that this youth named Yanjin had an extraordinary background. How did you encounter someone from the Skydman sect? Lu Yebai asked. We came here to rescue a woman abducted by the Black Wolf Gang. We believed that there were more pitiful women in Idle Stone Garden. We were just about to search when that Skydman sect expert appeared, said Lu Qiu. Lu Yebai said coldly, this Black Wolf Gang's stronghold is actually a Skydman sect expert's lair. It looks like we have to investigate the Black Wolf Gang properly. Don't worry. Meng Dejiang's eyes were cold. All of the Black Wolf Gang's strongholds will be investigated thoroughly. None of them can escape investigation. The Black Wolf Gang's headquarters was heavily guarded. Gang leader Lu Cheng was drinking as he listened to music. Master. A figure rushed into the building. Oh. Lu Cheng frowned as he looked at the young man rushing in. Ah Quan, why are you in such a frenzy? The young man glanced at the singer beside them. Leave first, instructed Lu Cheng. The singer obediently retreated, leaving only the master and disciple inside. Only then did the youth speak respectfully, Master, something big has happened at Idle Stone Garden. Didn't I report to you that there's something wrong with Guardian Zhou? Women will occasionally disappear from Idle Stone Garden, but they don't appear in the brothels and whorehouses controlled by our Black Wolf Gang. The women that disappeared were virgins, ones that can be sold at a high price. Yes. I've instructed you to turn a blind eye to it. Why? What happened? Asked Lu Chang. Today, young Master Meng Chuan and a scion from Jadasun Palace came with a group of people. They wanted to search the entire idol stone garden. A terrifying expert actually appeared, the youth said. His entire body was covered in green mist, and his fingernails grew very long while his eyes turned green. It was very terrifying. He directly attacked young Master Meng Chuan and the others. Green mist? His fingernails grew long, and his eyes turned green. Lu Chang's expression changed. And then, the battle was terrifying. Many of our brothers and idol stone garden women were casualties. We fled in every direction, the youth said hurriedly. Master, I came to report to you at the fastest speed possible. If young Master Meng Chuan and the others were to die, we'd be in grave trouble. Is young Master Meng Chuan still alive? Pressed Lu Chang. I don't know. I immediately fled when I sensed something amiss. I didn't dare stay any longer, said the youth immediately. Oh. Lu Chang asked, you didn't tell anyone that you had suspected Guardian Zhou, right? No, I did what you instructed me to do. Master, what should we do now? The young man asked. You are, after all, stationed in Idle Stone Garden often. If the 5 Godfiend family clans and Jadasun Palace investigate this matter, they might investigate you, said Lu Chang. It's now 7:45 p.m. and the city gates close at 8:15. There's still time for you to leave the city. Go to East Mountains Flying Horse Bandits and hide. If they don't investigate you, I'll ask for your return. Remember. Go to Flying Horse Bandits and keep it a secret. I understand. The youth nodded. Leave quickly. The sooner, the better, said Lu Chang. Once the city gate is closed, it won't be long before Jadasun Palace and the 5 Godfiend family clans begin their investigations. You won't be able to leave tomorrow. Yes. The youth also felt that it would be safer for him to leave the city for now. He immediately left the gang headquarters and headed for the city gates. After he ran half a kilometer from the gang headquarters. Swish. A hidden projectile flashed and pierced the youth's body. The young man's eyes widened, and he quickly collapsed to the ground. At this moment, a masked Lu Chang appeared beside him. Ah Quan, Master doesn't dare to associate himself with the Skydman sect. I'll be doomed if the Godfiend family clans were to find out that I had discovered something amiss in Idle Stone Garden but chose to turn a blind eye to it. Only those who die will shut up forever. Don't blame me. Lu Chang quickly left with the youth's corpse. Moments later, Lu Chang returned to the Black Wolf Gang headquarters without anyone knowing. He leisurely drew in his study. Lu Chang. A furious bellow sounded. Lu Chang immediately walked out of the study. When he saw a white-robed middle-aged man outside, he immediately said with a smile, Ah, Lord Third. May I know what's the matter? You are asking what the matter is? You useless piece of trash, the white-robed middle-aged man said through gritted teeth. You actually brought big trouble to me running a Black Wolf gang. A Skydman sect expert appeared in Idle Stone Garden. What? Skydman sect? It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. Lu Chang nearly cried from fright. He immediately said, Lord Third, you know I don't have the guts. The 2 young masters, Meng Chuan and that Yanjin from Jadasun Palace, were seriously injured. Fairy Meng is on the verge of madness. She has already begun to mobilize the Meng family. Jadasun Palace Lord has also given orders to conduct a joint investigation with the Meng family. Tonight, the entire city will not be at peace. The white-robed middle-aged man gritted his teeth. You trash, quickly follow me, and meet my elder brother. Support me on https://buymeacoffee.com/2b translations